There are about 5 models in the history of dive computers that I love. Love, I'm using the word love. There are many more that I like, but love, only 5. We've talked about 4 of them already on this channel, but we haven't talked about my first love, the Shearwater Petrel. You always remember your first love, don't you? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Divers Ready. My name's James. As always, so great to see all of your smiling faces. We are the YouTube channel with the simple goal of helping you become the best diver you can be. So if you haven't done so already, make your next dive on our subscribe button and we'll dive straight into it. Make sure you stay tuned to the end of this video where I have a top tip for you if you decide to invest in a Shearwater Petrel 3. Now, Shearwater released the 2 new updates of their flagship models, the Perdix 2 and the Petrel 3 earlier this year, and they were kind enough to send me one of each to review. I've already reviewed the Perdix 2, it's up on the channel, I will link it above there. This is not a sponsored review, I did not receive any financial compensation, I am not Scuba Labs, for example. As with all of our review videos, I will break this video down into 3 parts. The features I love about this dive computer, the features I feel could be improved, and the ever troubling question of who I think this computer is best suited for. Now, inevitably, the question will be asked, which should I buy? The Perdix 2 or the Petrel 3? So I will be comparing and contrasting those 2 models throughout this video. That's just going to happen as a matter of course. Now, the Petrel 2 came out in 2014, so an update was definitely due. The Petrel 3 has the biggest screen of any Shearwater in history, 2.6 inches, and the brightest and tack sharpest screen of any Shearwater in history, with the new AMOLED color technology that you'll find in your basic flat screen TVs these days, the HD, 4K, whatever you want to say. The resolution is incredible, and that's compared to a 2.2 inch LED LCD on the Perdix. So low vis and myopic divers like me, take note, the screen is incredibly bright, tack sharp, and takes up the vast majority of the actual screen size itself. So does the extra 0.4 inch of difference or the AMOLED versus LED LCD make a huge difference? To me, not really, but it is noticeably different. In other words, the Perdix 2 still has an amazing screen, the Petrel 3 is a little bit more amazing, if that makes sense. The vibration motor in the Petrel 3 is noticeably more powerful than in either the Peregrine or the Perdix 2, which dry suit divers are bound to love. Also, the vibration alerts are customizable, meaning you can choose which issues give you a vibration alert. However, of course, like the serious alerts like, you know, low or high PO2s for CCR divers or low NDL for recreational divers are not optional, which is of course a good thing. I took both the Perdix 2 and the Petrel 3 with me to Grand Cayman and wore them one on each wrist on the same dive, and they would give me the same vibration alerts at the same time, and the Petrel 3 was noticeably stronger. So I can imagine if you're a dry suit diver, this would definitely be the way to go. As with the Perdix 2 and the Perdix AI before it, the Petrel 3 now comes with air integration support for up to 4 transmitters, so you can monitor 4 different gas mixes at the same time. And also, as with the Perdix 2, you have the new tougher titanium bezel, the aluminosilicate glass, which is tougher, just giving it a much more rugged, tougher feel. The Petrel still has, thankfully, the user-changeable AA battery size, which is fantastic. You can swap it out on a dive boat super quick. And thankfully, the Petrel 3 now features the upgraded twin O-ring system on the battery cap, which the Perdix has had for years. So definitely a worthy upgrade there. The buttons also received an upgrade, so these are the same titanium piezoelectric technology with the adjustable sensitivity, so if you're heavy-handed or a light touch, you can adjust how sensitive the buttons are. Love that. Apart from that, not much changes. Again, Shearwater should change their slogan to, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Same algorithm, same menu system, open circuit recreational, open circuit technical, CCR, a few more customization options, but apart from that, the same display. In fact, the Petrel 3 and the Perdix 2 are 95% the same computer. So as aforementioned, the Petrel has a slightly bigger screen. It also has a much chunkier body, which accommodates the more powerful vibration motor, but also keep in mind that the Petrel is still Shearwater's CCR controller computer, meaning versions of the Petrel are either hardwired into a CCR by the rebreather manufacturer, or you can buy a Petrel with a Fisher connector and plug your CCR in yourself. If you are a traveler, that extra size won't make too much difference for you because both the Perdix 2 and the Petrel 3 come in exactly the same case, so they're not going to take up any extra space in your luggage. Shearwater will always make some version of the Petrel as a CCR controller. The question I ask myself is, why did they decide to continue with the standalone Petrel when they already have the magnificent Perdix 2, 95% of the same functionality in a more compact unit? I don't think anyone who's watching this would be surprised to know that if I was going out tomorrow to buy a technical diving computer, it would be a Perdix 2. It's slimmer, it's trimmer, and the screen is only slightly smaller and is still excellent. So who should choose a standalone Petrel 3 over a Perdix 2? Well, in my mind, it's a very narrow group of divers. Cold water, for sure, absolutely, for that extra sharpness on the screen. And dry suit divers will definitely prefer the stronger vibration alert. Yes, the Petrel has a slightly brighter, slightly bigger, slightly sharper display than the Perdix, but my thoughts really with that are that if that slight difference is important to you, you might want to go and check with the optician to see if you should be diving at all. The Perdix screen is still fantastic. So don't get me wrong, the Petrel 3 is an excellent dive computer with all the hallmarks of Shearwater's engineering prowess. Simple, yet powerful, ruggedly built. You can see I've already dinged it up on the screen protector there a bunch, which comes pre-installed, by the way. Fantastic. And if you've already bought one, you've made a sound choice. And I'm sure that there's a reason that Shearwater couldn't fit the AMOLED screen onto a Perdix 2, but I'm just not convinced that the difference is that great. I'm not convinced that the vast majority of the diving public need the choice of a standalone Petrel 3 and the Perdix 2. But as Shearwater will continue with Petrels for CCR connectivity, I understand it makes sense for them to keep offering the standalone Petrels as the engineering facility is already in place for them. Now, because I want to pack as much value into this video as possible, as promised, if you decide to buy a chonky Petrel 3, I have a great piece of advice for you, and that is, don't put your computer on before your BCD. This is something that I stress with all of my technical diving students in general, but even if you're diving it recreationally, leave your Petrel clipped off onto a D-ring, get into your gear and then unclip and secure your computer, rather than putting the computer on your wrist and trying to put your arms into your shoulder straps. It always gets caught, it always gets snagged up, and then you need help to free yourself, or you have to get out of the whole thing and start again. So top tip there, trust me, once you've made that mistake, it's not one you'll make again. Again, I'm all about breeding good habits on this channel, so I just want to throw that in as a little bit of extra value. As always, thank you so much for spending your time with me. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already, and I will see you in the next video. Dive safe, dive often.